Right, okay, in this video we are discussing whether it's worth changing the brake pads with the disc. Depends, I would say, depends how worn it is. I would say if you look at my disc, there's a lot of ridges in there, and probably if the ridges are any deeper than mine, it is worth changing the disc with the pads. Sometimes you'll get like half a millimetre thick ridges, and definitely because your brake pads won't be sitting properly initially if you put new brake pads on worn brake discs like this, right? Well, not exactly. If it was worse than this, it wouldn't brake properly, because basically you wouldn't have the surface area touching brake material to brake disc. When it's like this, just fine ridges, and yes, you can get away with just brake pad only. I know I've got low brake pads on this car, but I've got new brake discs when I bought the car, ready with, I think these are the right brake pads, I think, for this car. I can tell by how it's kind of like tapered off at the ends. I bought these brake discs when I first bought the car, ages ago, about 3-4 years ago. I've just when they were really cheap. These were only probably, a set was only probably £45. So now I'm going to install them, both of them. Any problems is going to be getting the screw off. Might have to do some drilling. Still haven't been able to get my hands on any left-handed drill bits, so I haven't bothered buying any yet. Should do. They will really help take screws off. Any problems, I'll just use some sort of screw remover. Alright, let's get down to it. Okay, car jacked up properly onto some strong section of the car. Usually I go for where the jacking point is. Usually a thick lot of metal that runs towards the car's centre, so that's the one that's taking the weight. It depends on your car, but obviously don't put it on anything like a joint, like the arm of this joint or anything like that. Second backup jack just on the jacking point, so I usually use my 2-ton jack to jack it up here and then insert it in there and then release. I'm on the slope, so I've got backup 20 kg blocks, concrete blocks. Car's in reverse, of course, anyway. The car, obviously, when I've got both ends jacked up, it won't make a difference. But when you release it, you want to make sure the car doesn't rotate forwards, so it's in reverse. Right, so WD-40 sprayed into those screws there. Those are usually a problem. When I go to install the new rotor on, I will try and remember to put copper E's around the rim there, so when it comes to removing it, it's nice and easy. That's how much brake pad I got left. I don't know if I'm down to the squealers yet. It hasn't squealed yet, but I'm low on pad. Okay, so let the WD-40 do its work. I think these are 13 on this Honda Civic 2.2 CDTI. You feel there's going to be a lot of strain on this pipe, just secure it. I'm just using cable tie. That looks okay. It's not, even that's not really a good idea, you know, bending it like that. So I might readjust and put it over there maybe, or I might just leave it. Right, so take off. See, that fell straight down. You need to keep that because your new brake pads, you're going to have that. Kind of, not sure what it is, but it's like a guide. And where is the squealer on there? Where's the squealer not been working? Ah, it's just before the squealer. I'm like half a mil off the squealer. Okay, so time to compare. See who I was lucky. Yeah, they look about the same. Okay, so they're complete. These are completely worn. They look the same. That will be filming properly. There we go. Yeah. Okay. I have to get the bracket off at some point. It might be worth putting some more WD-40 on those two little screws again. Take these off. Remember the way they go in, like that. There's one on top. What's that? Could just do it the easy way. Stick new pads on, but there's quite a ridge on there. Be mindful that this, I'll have to go backwards, so depending on the version of caliper you've got, you may have to start rotating it. You might need a little adapter to fit around whatever shape it is. Just here on this, it just looks like a disc. My base get away with pressing it in. With a new disc and new pads, it's going to have to go in all the way. Right, I've got a breaker bar. It's a 17 for the bracket there. I've got a breaker bar attached, probably 60cm one. Debating whether or not to crack it open or not. Obviously the risks are I break the bolt in there if it's too tight. And then there's also this as well. You know, will it come out easy? Have I got enough metal still in there? I think so. I've worn about maybe 1 mil away, maybe at the most, from these rotors. There's plenty of metal left on there, so the easiest option may be just to change the pads. I know what they'll do if you took your car to the garage. They'll just change the pad. They see that? There's a lot of force on that. I'm pulling, but not enough so I think I'll break the bolt. You see, you've just got to wait up the age of the car. If I was to really wrench at it, bolt snaps. What happens? Alright? So what happens is there's going to be a problem. Just come over this side because the steering turned a little bit, didn't it? And it did turn this side as well. So it's a little bit turned over. Yeah, I didn't like that sound it made when I cranked it. That's the problem with old cars. Should WD for you them two 17mm bolts as well, of course. But I think there is enough material on there, and like I said, the grooves are not very deep. It's just not worth it. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm paranoid, but it just seems like it's when I tugged at it, it just moved a little bit like that. And I looked on the other side, so I include all my areas in my car, and it also has it's gone to the left, right? But if you look at the steering wheel, not really to the left. I'm straighten it all the way. Oh, by the way, these days I'm not making an error again. I'm putting this right there, so I know I've left the locking wheel nut adapter slightly a couple of degrees pointing toe in. Let's look at it at the same angle. Yeah, it looks the same. That's okay. Anyway, let's just do it the easy way. Wire brush, clean all these up, copper ease, and I'll need to copper ease the parts where it's touching. The bracket, like here, I'm pointing there, up there, and reinstall. It's simple as that. These can be a problem. I'm going to switch over to reverse left-handed screws soon, so when I'm trying to undo it, I'm actually cutting into it. I'm going to maybe buy something like an 8mm, 10mm screw, 10mm drill, and maybe like a 6 as well, just to drill all these things out. Alright, okay, I'll do that. I'll clean it up, show you what it looks like. So I'm not going to take this off, and I'm not going to take this off. It's just not worth it. There's enough material on there. If you took your car to a garage, they would not be doing this. They'll just change the pad. So you've got to do it the easiest way possible, the minimum amount of fuss as possible, minimum risk of snapping an old car's bolt as possible. Do things logically. And I wasn't tugging that hard, I just tugged it, you know, somewhat hard, and you heard it go crack. So notice where I've put the copper E's on, the contact points for the pads. And these are just standard, these are really cheap, you just buy them from any shop, they should have a good supply of them. Make sure you don't go in easy by hand. They're quite tight, I don't know what they're made of, stainless steel. Some really good quality metal, they don't normally rust. Some sort of alloy. Titanium maybe. Okay, they're in. Now the next thing you need, you make sure the pads fit. Make sure you've got the backings to the pad. Usually a squealer goes on the inside, and see, this is not made of such good material, that's snapped off due to rust, but that contact point, this plate needs to be on there. So if it doesn't fit, I'm just going to test it out using this one, that's not falling apart. If it doesn't fit, I'm going to have to reshape the pad using a grinding stone, a grinding wheel, I don't know what we call it. It should fit, and it shouldn't be too tight, which is not. It's moving, that's fine. On the Ford, the one I got, the pads I got, remember I had to reshape them. It's fitting on there nicely. Simple as that. Do the opposite end, the opposite side. The last job will be to push the piston back. I decided not to keep the backing plate for the inside one. Don't think it makes that much of a difference, but what would make a difference if it slipped as I was installing it, or if I was driving around and it kind of moved backwards, from the angle of it, it would go, backwards. So it could possibly go backwards and then get into this thing here, and that could cause a load of noise or a load of problems. So just remove that since it's busted anyway. Take your time when you're doing this next part. Use a large G clamp. Awkward little camera there. Should come round like so. Should come round this pipe like so, really. Let me rejig that. It's not in the right. Make sure I'm pushing this thing in the middle. It's going to bore this plate. I'm pushing the rim, but it's not going to go in evenly. Don't know if this will work. I might have to find a socket to put inside the cylinder. I'm watching all the time on my squashing anything. Do this next bit gently. It's going in slowly. As you wind it, just give it time just to settle in, because you don't want. There's a diaphragm on the I think it's the master cylinder. That should not be reversed, so you don't do this quickly. It's next job. Take your time. Keep winding it in. it going in. If you find there's like little kind of grooves, little kind of pivot divots in them, means you need to rotate it as you're pushing. That I normally just use something like that. I can extend the bar and just keep ratcheting and rotating it. Just keep doing that. And that's it really, that's the video. I haven't put the bolts back in, but it went straight in and I didn't really retract it all the way, see? Left a bit of a gap there. So if I did have new, that was quite a bit, so it's okay. If I did have a new rotor, it will easily still fit. That's what it is when you fix cars. And you're doing your own car, of course. You've just got to be mindful of what's going on, especially if it's an old one. Like, is it worth doing? Well, ask yourself that question. This plate, that bit broke off. Is that worth keeping on? Not really. Was there a lot of stress on it? Yes, there was. Hang it up. That kind of thing. Are these ridges deep enough to worry you? If it's not, and it's I've only used maybe a millimetre, maybe half a millimetre on the rotor. Keep it. All right. Anyway, but you know what to do if it was deeply grooved. Right. Thanks for watching. Yeah, so here's an example of perfectly done wheel alignment. Notice exactly the same in terms of wear. Same here on this side. So if there's any issues in the future with this particular car, you know why it was when it went crank and I thought it moved a little bit. But anyway, I've got a lot of videos on wheel alignments. Have a look at them. I have kind of worked out how to do them. I've kind of found the finesse of doing them. So have a look at my videos on wheel alignment. This is a perfect example of perfect wheel alignment. By the way, once you've got the wheel off, check for any nails or anything before you install it.